Hey guys, welcome back. A lot of you have been asking what the difference is between my 997 and the 996 in terms of the driving, but also the styling. And there are definitely some differences, but there are a lot of similarities. So this video, I'm going to take a quick tour of my 997 and talk about some of the differences and reflect on my experience with my second gen 996. Let's start with some of the obvious stuff first. Obviously, the headlights are different. The 996, famous for its runny eggs. Mine was actually the 996.2, the second gen, and it had better headlights, but they weren't the traditional. So when the 997 came out in 2005, the end of 2005, and early 2006, Porsche went back to the classic headlights, as I'm sure everyone knows. And that's now carried through the second gen 997 and the 991 and hopefully forever. But to all of those 996 owners out there, okay, yes, the runny headlights weren't great. I mean, honestly, they weren't great. But they weren't that bad. And the second gen 996 headlights, I said it before and I'll say it again, I honestly loved the look of the second gen 996 headlights. They'll never come back, I'm pretty sure. And because of that, and because they look pretty cool and they were better than the runny eggs, I think they will become classic and relatively iconic headlights. Not as iconic as the originals, of course, but the second gen 996 headlights, I love those. But I have to admit, like I'm sure most, if not all 997 owners, it's really nice to have a 911 with the original iconic spotlights. So that's pretty cool. The fog lights have gone back to look similar to the 964 and certainly the 933, I think it is, the 90s 911. I've got the bi-xenon self-leveling headlights, so when I turn the car on, the headlights come up and I think they automatically detect other headlights coming and automatically adjust, but they don't go left and right, they only go up and down. And the fog lights are just the regular halogen bulbs from what I understand. I don't think they're bi-xenon, but I could be wrong. You can get aftermarket LED lights to look like the more modern Porsche 911 and the Panamera and the Cayenne and Macan, etc. With the exterior LED ring, the halos, and then the LED in the middle. But you can't get the OEM ones in here, just the LEDs. I considered going to the LEDs, but I just wanted the bi-xenon. I think they look the best. So there are the headlights. The frunk is a little bit bigger than the 996. I would say just a touch. Having said that, it could actually just be because my 996 was a Carrera 4, and this is the Carrera, and the four-wheel drive has some of the drivetrain actually in the front, so that might have been the reason. But it's a lot deeper. I can get a really big size suitcase in here with the 996. Oh, hello. I couldn't. So the frunk definitely bigger. Pretty awesome. And you know, I think they've done also in the 997. They've done a nicer job of styling the covers, the compartment covers here on the interior. The 996, a couple of the covers were pretty loose and pretty flimsy. I think this looks a lot better. It's got the nice Porsche logo in the middle over where the battery is, I think. The cabin air filter, which is behind here, this has got a really nice solid cover. And then, not that this is any use to me anymore, but behind here, you know, we've got the DVD and we've got the CD changer and so on. But it's all housed in really nice plastic casing. So that's definitely a plus over the 996. The other difference is the lower spoiler, the grille here. There have been a few improvements from the 996. It looks a little different, essentially. It almost looks like a smiley face. We've still got the two air intakes there, which are about the same. But this sort of semicircle, almost oval center of the lower spoiler is different. And I think it just looks a little bit more integrated, a little bit more finished. And it's a minor but welcome change to the 996. And then as we go around the rest of the car, the other difference between my previous car, the 996 and the 997, are the wing mirrors. The wing mirrors got this really cool little feature where the air flows in between. Maybe it helps with the aerodynamics. Maybe they just wanted to subtly change the look of the car. Either way, I really like it. I think also the depth and the height of the mirror is slightly different. But I think it's a really nice feature having the little air holes in the side of the mirrors. Not a big deal, but I like it. The wheels are an inch bigger. I think these are 18-inch rims. Yeah, certainly given the width of the tires. These are the 18s. The 996 had the 17. The other major difference is the butt. This is not quite as wide a wide body as the S models and the S and the 4S, but as the basic Carrera, the 996 essentially just went straight back, and in the 997 they went back to some of the original stylings, to some of the former 911 models, and created a wider rear end. I'm not sure if you can appreciate it from this view, but there is a slightly better look, I think. I'll go on this side, driver's side. You can see it just sort of sits out. Actually, it sits out a lot further than the 996. I think this is really, really nice. One of my favorite features of the car. And then the deck lid here, the spoiler. The grooves are wider and longer and deeper. It looks like a meteor deck lid. And it looks more integrated into the back of the car. I really like this in the 997 as well. We've still got the awful bumperettes on the back. I really don't like the bumperettes at all. One of the best things, in my opinion, on the 991s is that they got rid of these and you've got a fully integrated, seamless rear bumper. Thankfully, I don't notice them as much in the black. On my seal gray 996, I used to avoid looking at the back of the car sometimes because I hated how they look. Now you can delete them. It is possible to take them off, but it's a hell of a job from what I've gathered. And I think you may also have to do some touching up, and when you take away the bumperettes, there are going to be some screw holes that need to be covered up, and it doesn't necessarily look smooth. In the UK, because the UK number plates are so wide, I don't think the 996s or the 997s had these bumperettes at all. So they look a lot better. But here in the States, we've got these diddly little license plates, and they are what they are. But you know, to be fair to the Porsche purists, the old school 911s had the bumperettes. So I suppose it is in keeping with the original. But you know, whatever. Now the other thing I really like about the 997 is the stock exhaust. It sounds a lot better than the stock 996 exhaust, to the point where I really don't mind that I don't have the sports exhaust, and I'm really not that keen on getting the Gundo hack, or even going for the fab speed, even though I do play with the idea every now and again. When I have the windows down and I listen to this rip, it sounds really great, and it sounds a lot better than the 996 stock exhaust, even though that sounded pretty awesome as well. And you look back at one of my videos, and I did a session on the 996 stock exhaust as I was thinking about an upgrade before I got rid of that car, and you can hear how it sounds really cool. The other styling difference between the 997 and the 996, of course, is the rear lights. I really like these. I like how the rear panel here is now on top of the light and angles down, which gives it a really nice sort of subtle but aggressive, more sort of aggressive and aerodynamic look, as opposed to the 996 headlights, which didn't tail down to the side as much as the 997s. They stood up prouder just a little bit, but the seam in between the two body panels was actually below the light. and it was relatively flat and level with the ground. This is more angular. I think it looks a lot cooler. One of my favorite things about the 997 is one of the first things I experienced, which was actually just opening the door. There, that's even better. I don't know if I'm crazy, but it sounds a little more luxurious, it sounds a little more expensive and a little more refined for some reason. I'm nuts, I don't know. So later in the video I'm going to be driving. I'm finally getting out on the road, even though it's a miserable day. But let's just continue with some of the interior features and the differences between the 996 and the 997. One of the first things I noticed was just, even though it's only a little bit bigger, how much bigger the interior felt. And as you can tell from my videos, I'm a pretty big guy. The 996 was comfortable, but one of the reasons I got the automatic was because I didn't feel comfortable enough driving stick and constantly banging my knee up and down against the steering wheel. Inside the 997, definitely bigger, even just so subtly, but the headroom is much better. The chair itself, the driver's seat, is lower. You can get it lower than the 996, also creating more space. And the legroom feels bigger as well. I don't know if they've done something with the frunk, and maybe the frunk now is deeper, but not quite as wide. I don't know, but definitely feels bigger. And also, the door panels, the interior door panels are straight now. You can see there, where the 996s actually came out a little bit further. So there was less room up here, and there was a little less room here. But we still have the storage bins. Let's see how much crap I've got in here. Yeah, fair amount of crap. But yeah, the storage bins are still pretty useful, but I can't get a bottle of water in here anymore. I could easily get a bottle of water in the 996, but no chance now. It's just, sunglasses case, trash bags, and, whatever. The handles on the interior of the door are different. I really like the way they look. And the window controls now are on the side here on the door, as opposed to in the center console where the 996 had them. So it's kind of nice to have the windows here. Also with the Sports Chrono package, I don't know why this is with a Sports Chrono package, but you get the memory seats. And considering I'm the only one who drives this car, and I always keep the seats in the same place, it's not particularly useful, but it's nice to have anyway. The dash looks a lot more refined. The straight edges along the top of the dashboard there. The stitching I really like. Like all Porsches, the lights and the keys are on the left-hand side, so that's the same. There are some minor improvements to the dials in the middle. They've changed them around just a little bit, but they're more or less the same. Pedals are a lot cooler, actually. These are the stock pedals. I don't know if you can see very well. But the stock pedals, covered in chrome with the black plastic, look really good. This is a manual. My 996 was an automatic, but essentially the center console, a couple of updates, nothing major. I really like the leather-wrapped e-brake, the handbrake, and of course, I just love the chronometer there. So cool. Even though I don't use it very much, it's really, really cool. Steering wheel, more or less the same. Really nice leather wrapped with the 3 spokes. Very, very cool. And then in the back, the seats, I would say the seats are actually a little more comfortable than the 996. Not a huge change, but definitely some changes there. There is no way I could even get in the back seat, but I've got my phone on a stick, so I can reach into the back. There's actually a nice bit of storage space there in the back, if you can see. And when the seats come down, you could get a set of golf clubs, you could get some more luggage in there. But a really nice amount of styling changes with the 997. So overall, really happy. Now let's take it onto the road and talk about the driving.